Darius Akuff.
Adios.
Yeah, he's a high draft pick. I mean, he's 99.99999% chance going to go to the NBA draft and be selected really early.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I don't think we're seeing Darius Akuff in an Arkansas uniform again. The next time you see him on the court, going to be wearing some NBA team's jersey.
Trevor Brazil.
Yeah, obviously you won't have Trevor Brazil again next year, but I think Arkansas fans really appreciate how he stuck with the program and, finished his career on a high note.
He's exhausted his eligibility, the longest tenured Razorback, but will he get drafted? I don't know.
Malik Thomas.
Maybe. I think that Malik Thomas certainly could get drafted this year. I think he's definitely NBA quality, but could you come back next year and really raise your stock? I think that's the question that he has.
He's had a really great year, but with how loaded and deep this draft class is, it becomes a question of whether or not he's going to get the draft stock that he would want. So I think he's one of the most interesting guys to watch for sure.
Billy Richmond.
Maybe, probably.
I'm going to say yes. John Calipari started off being the one to call him Billy Goat. Now all Arkansas fans kind of do the same thing. He's adored by the fan base. I think that another year for him in college might be the best route. And just with the way that he's adored by the fan base and stuff, I think that it would be kind of a no-brainer to come back to Arkansas.
I think there's a world in which he tests the draft and gets a good grade that he likes and maybe stays in, but I would lean more towards him being at Arkansas next season than not.
DJ Wagner.
Probably.
He's basically part of the family with the Caliparis, right? That's worth something. I wouldn't be breaking any news and saying that I don't think that he's going to get drafted this year. And I think that another year, which, maybe he would be more on the ball, would, I think, help his professional stock a lot. Yeah, I think the experience factor, the fact that he's such a big part of what they've wanted to build, I think that would keep him in Fayetteville.
I think that it would make sense for him to come back and kind of be that veteran point guard who can facilitate things, who understands the offense and has a lot of really talented pieces that aren't like a Darius Akuff that needs to have the ball in his hands as much running the point. I think that DJ Wagner could help be the true floor general next year and facilitate things, and I just think that it would make sense for him to come back.
Malik Yuan.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had some of his best games towards the end, started turning in some double-doubles. I think another year with the Razorbacks pending, if everything works out with the eligibility, would only benefit him to stay in the same system, be under the same coaches, and maybe take that next step up next year.
I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't, and I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't want to keep him around or if he wanted to look at other opportunities, because, especially near the end of the season, you really started to see him kind of come along from a production standpoint.
Nick Pringle.
Nope.
Yeah, he's out of eligibility. He had a really productive college career, Final Four, a couple Sweet 16s.
Nick Pringle only had one season to be with the Razorbacks, but, hats off to him for, I guess, the way that he finished it out with trying to fight back from that hamstring injury and play in the Arizona game.
Carter Knox.
Probably. Maybe a full offseason of getting back to strength. He can get back to where he was and take that path that we thought he'd be on this year. He's also, like Nick Pringle, a really good locker room voice.
He was talking about how much he wanted to get back on the floor. He said he was so close to being back to full health whenever I asked him about it after the Sweet 16 game. So there's a reason that had he stayed in the NBA draft as a freshman, he would have gotten taken probably in the second round. So there's reason to be excited about his potential, his development, and, giving him an offseason in familiar surroundings and to get healthy, to get acclimated again, to just being back on the floor full time and all of that. I think that would be very beneficial to him and to Arkansas.
Isaiah Cely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He obviously didn't get a ton of playing time this season, but when he got on the floor, there were moments in which you could see, why he was a four-star kid, why he was so highly recruited, and why they wanted to keep him at Arkansas. You give him another full summer to develop, to add some muscle and add some more progression to his game. I think that you could see him start to step into a larger role next season.
I could see him, maybe based on roster and everything, there still isn't a great opportunity. He wants to go somewhere that he could take on a bigger role. Maybe that ends up happening, but right now I think Isaiah Cely probably benefit from just staying in the same place and developing his game and fine-tuning some things.
Jaden Kletwa.
Maybe.
No clue. Great shooter. Do you like being on the bench at Arkansas more than maybe a role player at some smaller school? That's the real question there.
Amir Chovich.
Sure.
Maybe. A bit like Jaden Kletwa, he's a guy who I'm sure is a really good player to have in practice.
Amir Brown.
Yeah. I really don't know where he'd go. I think he's around.
Aiden Kelly.
Sure.
Yeah. Another one who seems like a good locker room presence.
And the two guys who did not log any minutes this season, Reem Rattel, Paulo, Tomato.
Yes.
Maybe.
Most of the time when you don't see players play for a season because of, injury or whatever, you don't see them leave. It's kind of like, you're still in wait and see mode with what's going to happen there.